Today's project. Well, we got the 1997 Chevy Astro hooked up to the pontoon boat there, and got a whopping 9 inches of clearance at the hitch. So, gonna put some air shocks on it, raise it up a bit. Last time I did this, it was the 70s, so it's been a while. Let's go figure this out. Remember that first car you had that you wish you still had today? Mine was a 1967 Cougar XR7 GT with a 390 FE series motor. Yeah. Wonder what that's worth today. Anyway, that's the last time I installed air shocks. So you figure this is the 70s and it's 2020. So it's been a few years. So gonna put air shocks on this today, raise up the back end, and do a brake inspection. $1,200 vehicle with 250,000 miles on it. Think the brakes are in good shape? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the boat ramp's only about 2 blocks away, but there's some pretty steep hills, so I better do a brake inspection. So that's what's on the agenda today. Now, I'm at my southern location, and I don't have hardly any tools. So, it's gonna be a challenge, but we'll figure it out. Okay, well, it looks like the front brake pads are about at the end of their life. Rotors are in good shape, so I'm going to order a set of pads and get them on their way. Okay, the rear brakes don't look bad. I mean, there's still a lot of meat on them. This corner right here is busted off, but there's no grooves in the drums. They look good. And that rivet is still pretty well down there. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it for a year, and I'll come back and look at it next year. Okay, there's the shock absorber we need to pull out. And we will replace it with an air shock. All right, on to the next step. Okay, replacing shocks is not a big deal. You've got this bolt nut down here, and you've got another one up there. You pull those two out, the shock falls out. You put another one in, and you reverse the process. So there's passenger side, and there is the driver's side. And when I get over there, I'll bring you back. Actually, when I get done with this one, once I get this out and get the new one in, I'll bring you back and explain everything I had to do to do it. All right? Okay, I got the old shock out, and you know what? It's really not in that bad a shape. And if it wasn't for you know, the heavy weight of the tongue, I never would have changed it. This here is the new one, the air shocks. You can see the air port right there where they fill up, and the bag down here at the bottom. So we'll have to run the hoses and stuff. Okay, getting them out, getting the old shocks out. Not that big a deal. Nut and bolt down here came out pretty easy. The ones up top there, they had some rust on them. So I hit it with some PB Blaster, and I went ahead and did the driver's side with PB Blaster, and I just got them out. Not that big a deal. Okay, now let's put the new one in. Passenger side is done. Still have to route the airline, but that shock, I mean, it just literally dropped right in place. No problems at all. Now, the issue that I have, this here is the air fill, so we got to run a line into it. And I tried it in up position. I was concerned about this plate here, so I flipped it over, but there's the muffler right there. And the thing about air shocks, and I learned this in the 70s, is that if that hose chafes or burns, it goes, you lose all your air. And I don't want to do that. My truck has airbags, which is a very similar system, a lot more expensive, but I was very careful with the routing on it, and I'll have to be careful for this guy too. Okay, on to the driver's side shock. Okay, this here's the before with the original shock in place, and in a few minutes we'll do the after. And there you go, there's the after. There's the new shock in place. So the next thing to do will be to route the air lines. Okay, there's the fill valve. So whenever we need to put air in it, I should have left that loose because I still got to connect the air hose to it. So, got the fill valve located and installed. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the T in. And then from the T, we're going to go to the shocks. Okay, these, the air lines are the most critical part. And it's actually pretty basic. So, you've got your air hose. Slide the cap on. Wet your fingers. And you take an O-ring. Okay, you got this little tiny O-ring here. I lose it? Nope, there it is. And you take it, you carefully slide it over. Now, when you cut your hose, your air hose, you do it with a razor blade, a sharp razor blade, and you make sure you get a 90-degree cut on it. Then you literally just slide these guys together on your O-ring down there a little bit. I like to cheat a little bit. Get that in there. Everything lines up. Slide your cap on, and hand tight only. All right? And that's how you do every single connection. Okay? Now, if you have a leak, you did something wrong. And that's what the manufacturer will tell you. When I was doing my airbags, that was their only response for everything. You did it wrong. So, anyway, not much to it. Let me get this finished up. Okay, we are under the vehicle, and I wanted to give you a brief review of the airlines. There's the fitting on the outside of the bumper, and it comes up over to a T that I got mounted right there, and that feeds the driver's side shock, and then tees off and goes up to that cross member there, and then across that cross member over to the shock on the other side. Not very exciting, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the airline routing. Okay, we got it up to 90 pounds, which is what you're supposed to test it at. And I'll put my face underneath it and see if we hear anything. Well, I don't hear any leaks. I got to show you my my audience today. Got ourselves a buck and 2 does. Kept an eye on me today. They were my my safety officers. Okay, let me get hooked up to the boat, and we'll see how much it drops. That bought us 2 inches, which I think will do the trick. We're only at 90 pounds. These guys are both to 150, so I think we're in good shape. If I need to pump them up more, I'll pump them up a little bit more. Okay, just a quick recap here. Put air shocks on the van. Raised it up about 2 inches, which is about what we needed. That's about all we needed. We got a little dip in our driveway down here, and whenever we take the boat out, the hitch drags in there. The hitch was at about 9 inches, a little less. It's now just a little over 11. I think we'll be fine. I think the ride will be much better. Wow, it must be oh dear 30. A bunch of deer just showed up. We also inspected the brakes. The rear brakes look fine. I got that one pad that's got a chunk out of it. I'm not worried about that. Again, 2 blocks to the boat ramp and back. Not worried about it. Front ones, though, I'm going to replace those pads. I think the driver's side rotor may have a couple grooves in it. I felt it. They didn't feel that bad, so I'm not going to worry about it. The kit. These were Monroe shocks. When I was in high school, I put Gabriel hijackers on. I don't even know if they still exist anymore. And then for my truck, I put airbags. Completely different setup than these. And that was for towing a big old 5th wheel. The kit was not bad. The technology is to the point now where it used to be, I mean, if you didn't get that tubing cut just perfect, you had leaks. Now everything's plastic, and get it close, shove it in, tighten it down, finger tight only. You're good to go. A few extra parts. There's a couple little pins in there. I don't know what they were for. The instructions are generic for about 5,000 different cars, so, you know, they're pretty much useless. Other than that, I think that's it. Like I said, this van is not perfect, but every time we do a little bit more work on it, it gets a little better. We started out with a $1,200 van. If I've got $2 grand into this, I would be surprised. And all the stuff that I've done, these shocks, $75, and they'll do what we need them to do. Thanks for joining me today.